It is time to breathe again on the latest Breath of Fresh Air webcast streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So I got Patrick Brackett back with me, Charles, and we have a lot to get to, of course. So let's jump right to it, Patrick, and let's start with our normal review of the college football action that transpired over the past week. So we will debut a couple of graphics here, or a graphic that will have our picks from the week before we get to the next week's picks. So based off of the 10 games that the people who had watched this and saw us pick those 10 games that we had, of course it's 2 from each of the Power 5 conferences. Which one stuck out the most to you? Or, I mean, just, I guess, a few of them. Or which one stuck out to you more?
That Penn State Northwestern game. That game was, I was surprised at how well Northwestern played. I was thinking, I can't remember my score, but I did have Penn State winning that one pretty handily. It didn't handle that game. I mean, even though it was played in Penn State, I was quite surprised that it was as close as it was. That was a good defensive effort by Northwestern. So that one stuck out to me. And then there was another one, Florida State Wake Forest. That one was a good one. Wake Forest coming into Tallahassee and beating Florida State. I mean, I think there was a point where Wake Forest was up by 21. I mean, that was a surprise. I had a feeling that Wake Forest could go in and win. I just didn't see it, not with the way Florida State has been playing the past couple of weeks. I was just kind of like, I'm pretty confident with that. And Wake Forest came in with a great plan on both sides of the ball, and then a couple of miscues on Florida State for special teams just really geared that for Wake Forest to go into Tallahassee and win. And then I have one other game that was the TCU Oklahoma game. Wow.
Yeah, so that was the
TCU North Texas game. My fault.
Well, that was the one that, I mean, neither one of us had that on our games to watch. So that one just kind of
yeah, that one showed up, and when I was talking to you about that, you were like, "Yo, did you see what TCU's doing to Oklahoma right now?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Wait, hold on, Horned Frogs?
Yeah,
over there, bro. They were beating the Soon out of the Sooners."
Yeah.
Hey. And people, and you even mentioned people even there, but still, like,
yeah.
When you pointed that out, and then I saw it, I was like, seriously? Like, we're 7 days away from that. Come on.
Yeah, we're pretty hated.
And then one more game, and then you can go yours. Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech. Wow. Go Tech, right?
Got a little bit of a boost, because remember we were talking about Georgia Tech last week. They were going to make some changes, and so they're coming in. Coach left. Another coach got let go too. Wisconsin's coach, Paul Chris, he's gone. So what you're seeing are these programs, they're not playing. You got a little bit of time. You probably have 3 to 4 years to do something with the team. And if you can't do it, you're most likely getting let go.
Yeah.
These teams are not playing anymore.
And I got one more. Sorry. So.
Go ahead.
Maryland. Shout out to Maryland, man. We talked about them last week too. What? Going and beat Michigan State? What?
Yeah, Maryland has a sneaky good team. They are getting better defensively. We knew they could score, but now they're starting to have some defense to go with it. And if they can become more consistent with it, they can make some things. They might be able to upset a few things in there. Not gonna say they can get with Ohio State and Michigan quite yet.
But they
But
only
they did play Michigan tough though last week.
they did, and then they beat Michigan State. So hey, here we stand. That's the reason why you did the game.
So you know what, you did point out the Oklahoma TCU game. I mean, yeah, TCU blew the doors off of them. The Sooners were getting boomed. There you go. Since everybody, since Oklahoma wants to say boomer, and I can't say it, makes me sick. But you know the rest.
I can say it for a little bit, but even when they hit the SEC, but they got boomed.
Yeah, they was getting boomed. The Washington UCLA game caught my attention, so that's one of the ones that I did miss. UCLA, they actually handled business in that game. Washington scored a couple of touchdowns to make it close at the end, but UCLA looked really good in that game, winning it 40-32. The NC State Clemson one. Clemson looked strong. Yeah, I got to catch a good little bit of that one, and Clemson's defense they definitely look better than they did the week before against Wake Forest.
And the week before that.
Yeah.
It's like that defense that defense had finally clicked last week. So
the defensive line played well, and the secondary in the back end, because Wake Forest especially was torching the back end. But it seemed like those busting coverages, corners getting lost in coverage, or just getting flat out toasted in man-to-man coverage. Looks like Clemson was a lot more sound with their technique on defense. And on offense, I gotta say it, their quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei, is playing. He's playing better. He's looking confident, and they're running him more. So with him running more, it gives him more of a dual threat, and that can really start producing things for Clemson going down the stretch as well. And it looked like they'll have a pretty tough schedule going through the ACC, but beating NC State is huge because that's the team that has always been kind of the thorn in their side, even when Clemson was dominating the conference. So look, Clemson looks they look good. I'll give them that.
Alabama and Arkansas.
Alabama looks strong too.
Didn't at first. Arkansas is really good. They did at first, then they didn't, then they did in the second half.
Yeah, their running back Gibbs is just breaking off 70-yard touchdown runs. Just put that game away. And then when it was 28-23, of course, Bryce Young, he got injured with the shoulder injury, and so Milroe came in. Arkansas was making a run. They were coming. I mean, it was 28-23. They were down 28-0, and they cut it to 28-23. And they had Alabama in a 3rd and 15, and Milroe broke that 77-yard run that basically flipped the game around.
Downhill from there.
Yeah, just flipped the game around. Kentucky and Ole Miss too. That was a good game down the stretch.
Yeah.
Closely contested. Kentucky had their chances. Ole Miss was able to turn them over. And so that they got a big strip sack of Will Levis to pull that game out 22-19. So
did you see that Ole Miss kicker who kicked it like 190 million yards and pinned them in the 1-inch yard? I was like, yes, my God, he kicked the crap out of that ball. Holy cow. I was like, well, it looks like I was saying this to myself. I was like, well, man, it looks like Kentucky's going to have good field position. I was like, I don't see him flipping the field. That dude flipped the field 95 yards. My God. He kicked the crap out of that ball.
Special teams, man. Special teams does make a difference.
He shredded off that field too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's
I was like, yeah, good for you, dude.
like he just won a championship fight out there.
He kicked the crap out of that ball, though, man. That was a heck of a kick, though. I had to say something about that because that was a heck of a kick.
Absolutely. And one more game before we move on to the preview. Kansas State, man, looked pretty good in Texas Tech too. So of course, that was the game where we were looking at it and saying, well, all right, this team, Kansas State beat Oklahoma, Texas Tech beat us. Which team is going to handle success against each other? And Kansas State looked strong against Texas Tech. So that Big 12. One more thing, Patrick. Kansas is sitting at the top of the Big 12.
No. I noticed that yesterday. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
and part of the preview. Yeah, right. and look, and part of the preview that we're going to get into, College Game Day will be in Lawrence. It will be in Kansas.
Nice. It's about time. It's what, 50 years since we've been there?
If ever. They might have been there for basketball.
Well, that's not Kerber. That's not Kerber. No Lee Corso either.
All right.
It's Dick Vitale.
Yes.
Dude, that dude's getting on my nerves, man. He needs to retire.
Yeah. Vitale, man, you know what? So the thing with Vitale, man, because he's been kind of in and out of the coverage, kind of like Lee Corso, man. They both kind of had some health scares going on. Mm-hmm. So they're just taking care of those things. I think so. Like watching Lee Corso, man, sometimes, and this is kind of the same way for Vitale too. It gets a little sad sometimes, man, because they're what they want to say, what they're trying to say, but it's just not. It's not getting there. It's not coming out. And it looks.
Conversation several weeks back, and I'll tell you. First thing I see is like I see he's there. Here, it just doesn't want to come out. You know what I mean? And yeah, it does get kind of sad a lot of things, but man, like there's parts of me that's like, man, I'd really like for him to just retire and enjoy the rest of his life. But I don't want it to be, what was that Penn State head coach? Can't think of his name right now. When they fired him.
Joe Paterno.
I don't want it to be one of those, because as soon as Joe died and he didn't have football anymore, that's when he died. You know what I mean? And I don't want that to happen to these two because they are iconic figures in their respective sports, right? But I'm just like, okay, we'll go.
I mean, I think if they just kind of, I don't want to call it a fade away, but just kind of like a good, solid phase out period, maybe to where they're not on the show as much, but they'll come on there occasionally and they'll give a pick. And the crowds where they're at, wherever they're doing the show at, they can appreciate that more and stuff. Because I mean, those guys, they have their place in the history of ESPN.
Absolutely.
I mean, they've been in the public eye for so long. And when you think of those sports, when you think about college football, you think about college basketball, you do think of Lee Corso.
Top of your list.
Yeah, I mean, you think of Lee Corso with the headgear. And then Vitale with his famous sayings, "It's awesome, baby," and all that. Those are some of the first things you think of. So they're already in the minds. So they just kind of sit there, just kind of have them come on there occasionally and stuff. And I think that would be good right there, at least to the point where they don't feel like something was taken away from them.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But yeah, there's times where I'm sitting there going, man, I don't want him to go, but there's times I'm just like, man, he needs to retire and pass the torch at some point,
Yeah, like it doesn't look good sometimes when they're doing it.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, let's get to the preview portion of this. So, as I was talking about earlier, um, Patrick got a graphic. We'll debut it next week, but basically, it's going to have all the games that we picked. So, remember what Patrick was saying last week about what we're doing with the games. Each Power Five conference picking two games. One that he's looking forward to, one that I'm looking forward to. We get the scores and the teams that we think will win these games, and then that will get tallied into the records. So for last week, Patrick went 6-4. I went 7-3. So next week, we'll have a new set of 10 games, and then we'll just total that into the records. And we'll have a bonus column that has if we get we'll get bonus points if we pick the exact score, if we get the score right. So we'll have that graphic.
The exact score with the right team, not how I know it is the exact score with the wrong team. You know.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But 1,000 times. I mean, I picked the right score, and I'm like, hey, can't pick the right team.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you want to start?
Sure. Yep. Let's see what we got here.
Or do you want me to start my 5 already? Do you have your 5?
I do not.
I tell you what, let's do this. If we do pick the same game, then it's just one of those games where we have 9 that week.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We can go there. So yeah, go ahead. You can start off. Which conference are you starting with?
Pac-12. So we'll always start with the Pac-12. All right. So my game that I'm looking forward to is the Washington State USC game. I think this is going to be a good game because Washington State can go into USC and beat them. They can. I mean, their offense looks really good. Their defense looks really good. My question is their defense going to look as good as it should? Or I'm sorry, is their offense going to look as good as it should against that USC defense? USC is not really allowing a lot of points to some teams, but they haven't played an offense like Washington State either. So that's the game I'm looking forward to.
Who do you have winning?
I went back and forth on this one for a little bit. I got USC winning 27-21.
I agree. I think Washington State can win. It's just a matter of can they get stops. Especially down the stretch, and I don't know if they can get enough stops. Look, USC, I know you're gonna agree with what I'm saying here. I totally think they're overrated. I don't think they're as good as everyone is making them out to be. But I mean, it's a typical Lincoln Riley team. They can score points. It's just a matter of are they going to stop people. I think they will have enough to beat Washington State. I actually like your score. That 27-21 does sound good. But I'll go a little bit higher. I'll go 30-24. USC wins that game.
Are you just going to add 3 to each side? give them both a field goal? Okay.
Yep, give them both a field goal. Yep. 30-24 is where I'm going with that one. My game for the Pac-12, Utah and UCLA, man.
I knew you were going to pick that game. And that's the reason why I picked the Washington USC. There's another one that I think that you were going to pick too, and I picked a different one just because I knew you were going to pick it.
Yeah, that one, man. They're playing in the Rose Bowl. We talked about how good UCLA looked against Washington last week. The quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, very good dual threat quarterback there from UCLA. They have good running game. Their offense is pretty complete. Their defense, they are pretty opportunistic. Utah, just a solid team all the way around. and I fought this one. I fought with. I'm gonna pick Utah to win this game. Close though. I think it probably comes down to a field goal. Just think Utah, just with their completeness and well-roundedness, they'll make enough plays there to pull this one out. I am going 33-30. Yep, 33-30, Utah.
I knew you were going to pick that one. That's the reason why I'm ready for this one.
Yeah.
all the things that you said, I mean, I was like, yeah, that UCLA defense is very opportunistic. And if anybody is going to stop Utah, it could be this UCLA defense. That being said, I don't think they can. They're going to get a lot of stops. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Utah's going to get into the red zone 15 times and score 15 touchdowns. Not like that. I do think that Utah does more than enough to win. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a score than by a field goal. I actually got them by 10. I'm going to go 35-25.
All right. Good score. Yeah, I mean, Utah's just a little bit more complete to me. And I think UCLA is trying to get there. Like you said, the defense is opportunistic, but consistently stopping guys. That's the issue with their defense. And so you're going to play teams like Utah, you have to be a little bit more consistent. Now, look, UCLA is definitely capable of winning that game. Don't get me wrong, but I just think Utah is just a little bit more complete at this point. So, yeah.
I'd agree.
All right, well, Patrick, next conference.
Big Ten. This game, man, if any game is going to be a good one, I think this one's going to be a good one. And it's Iowa versus Illinois.
Okay, yeah. Illinois surprising some people.
Illinois is surprising a lot of people, man. What they lost one? They're like 4-1 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they're and what's surprising is that the coach is getting the most, if not more, out of these players. It's like very Nick Saban-esque in Illinois. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The offense is just they're so disciplined, man. They don't penalize themselves. They don't shoot themselves in the foot while they're playing. Defense, same thing. They're very disciplined. And special teams, dude. I think that's like the only special team that hasn't made a mistake all year. You know, Georgia's made 5, Alabama's made 3. You know, all these top 25 teams have made all these mistakes, and Illinois is quietly mistake-free. You know, they play mistake-free football. You're probably going to be surprised with this one, but I got Illinois winning this one 27-24.
I'm not because Iowa struggles to score.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Iowa struggles to score. I didn't even go on Iowa, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they are. Iowa just, I don't know. They cannot get right on offense at all. Their defense, they can stop you. They can get turnovers, but when they play better teams, they get those if they don't get the turnovers, it's tough sledding. It's tough sledding for them. Because it's the way that they set up their offense for easy scores.
Yeah.
And since they can't, if they're not getting those, then it's gonna be tough. It's tough for them to drive. So if you got to drive 75, 80 yards, it's tough for them to do. They can't do it. Or not consistently enough without turning the ball over themselves. So
and that's a week out thing too. So
yep.
What do you got?
Who do I have? So your score was 27-24 for Illinois?
Yeah.
I have Illinois too. I think Illinois is kind of rolling in. I caught a little bit of their game against Wisconsin. They look really strong there. And shoot, got Wisconsin's coach fired. I think Illinois.
You can't get much stronger than that. I got you. So, there you go.
So I got Illinois. I think it'll be a little bit lower scoring though. So you had 27-24. I'm gonna go 23-20 around there. Illinois, because Brett Bielema is their coach, so he's gonna want to run the football. So I think you got the running game going well. You can set up some play action passing, and you might be able to catch Iowa on some gambles because again, this is an opportunistic defense that likes to turn you over. And so by Illinois running the ball strong, I think that will be enough to keep them guessing, and they'll be able to hit some big plays. But I think it'll be pretty low scoring or lower scoring. So I got 23-20 Illinois.
Okay.
My game, Purdue and Maryland.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be it.
So Purdue, their quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, that man can throw. He can put up some numbers. And they've had some tough luck losses. One against Penn State at the beginning of the year. They lost, I think, 35-31. And then they lost. Their other loss was non-conference one to Syracuse. Last second, they lost that game. So now they're going into Maryland. We were talking about Maryland earlier with their offense. I was kind of going back and forth with this one. I think I'm going to pick Purdue here. I think I'm going to give Purdue the nod. I think it's going to be a game, too. This one might be a little bit higher scoring than the other ones. I'll go 38-35 Purdue.
Ooh. 38-35 Purdue. As high powered as that offense is, I think that Maryland defense is stronger, dude. I do. That Maryland is coming out with they're for real on defense. It's going to be I think it's going to be hard for Purdue to score like that. So I'm actually going Maryland 35-21.
Oh, 2 touchdowns, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that Maryland defense, man, I think is going to make some stops, some good crucial stops that is just like deflating to that Purdue offense. So yeah, I got 35-21 Maryland.
Now you know what I always say about Purdue, because I say Purdue, their coach Jeff Brom is as good as it gets, I think, in the country. He just doesn't have the talent in Purdue. And I always think if he had Michigan or Penn State's talent, they could beat Ohio State at least half the times.
I would put more than half. Dude, seriously, he's going against Day. Come on.
Yeah, right.
I'm just not sold on him as a coach, man. I'm just not.
Well, he got the program handed to him. It's just one of those things if he did actually build the program. But, I mean, he was taken over after Urban Meyer and what he was able to do there. So, really, all he had to do is just keep the ship rolling. I think he's all right. Like, all right, I'll put it this way. I would probably take him over Lincoln Riley. As much pub as Lincoln Riley did.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't think Lincoln Riley's that great. Say he's a great offensive mind. I mean, he got the quarterbacks who won the Heisman trophies under his system to prove that. But I don't know. Like I think Day is a little bit more solid. Just my personal opinion.
Well, I mean, you put it that way, yeah.
So 35-21 Maryland.
Yeah,
I actually like that score because it could be one of those things where Maryland's defense does rise up and they're able to turn Aiden O'Connell over. One thing about O'Connell, he'll throw for some yardage, but man, sometimes
he does the interceptions too.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes they go the other way. I mean, he'll throw a touchdown, but it might go the other way. I'm not just saying.
What's your next conference?
Big 12. And I left this one for you. I know which one you're going to pick.
Yeah, you
So
don't even have to ask me. You already know.
yeah, so I went TCU Kansas. This is gonna be a good game. And man, and I said that Iowa Illinois is gonna be game of the week. God, the Big 12 has several games that are gonna be like really good, and this is one of them. TCU versus Kansas. Man, uh, this one took me a long time to think about this one, because TCU, they're a good team, man. They're coached well, disciplined, and they can score. Man, can they score? You watched that last week. But that was against an Oklahoma team that is not quite right. And I'll say it, yes. And if Jonathan watches, Oklahoma is not right. I'll say it again. But it's good.
I think he's done for the year.
Yeah, he probably is. He won't. He ain't gonna watch it. He's like,
unless they win next week, he's done for the year.
Oh, if they win this week, he might come back.
You're right. When everything's in his favor, of course.
Yeah, of course. But with that being said, I think this is a really good. I'm going to stick with TCU. I think TCU is just a very high-powered offense, and I don't see that Kansas defense really being able to stop them like that. I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So I'm going to go 38-35 TCU.
I am with you on TCU. Now look, Kansas is going to be lit up. Like we were talking about, college game day is supposed to be there in Lawrence for this weekend, so that's going to be
35.
It's going to be a really live atmosphere there in Lawrence. But yeah, I think TCU will have a little bit too much for them. I might have it higher scoring than what you have it, man. This might be 45-42 for me. This is going to be a shootout. These teams are going to get up and down the field. It might be one of those last teams to have the ball wins the game.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of going with, because, college game day is there. It's going to be hyped. If college game day wasn't there, I would probably stick to something like 41-28. But no, I think Kansas is going to be lit. I think it's going to be. It's going to be a hell of a party. Whoever wins, I can tell you that. So yeah, with college game day, I think Kansas does have a really good high-powered offense that can score on that TCU defense. I just, like you said, who's going to have the possession last? Probably the one that's going to win.
All right, and of course, you know where I'm going. This is Red River Shootout Week. Texas and OU going at it. I'll just be simple with this one. I mean, y'all already know, if y'all been watching the show, y'all already know who I'm picking, where I'm going with it. I can't stand Oklahoma, as y'all know. And I think we will continue to keep Oklahoma on this downward spiral they are in. I got us winning 42-25.
Oh God!
Yeah. I think we're mopping Oklahoma, man. Mopping them. I get it. I know rivalry. I get it, but hey, Oklahoma is in trouble. They are in big trouble.
Hey.
I think Bijan Robinson is going to get loose. I think Xavier Worthy is going to get loose. And then I think we're getting Quinn Ewers back this week, or at least he's targeting that. Even if we don't get him back, I think Card will still do the job. So I'm very, very confident that we're going to win by at least 2 touchdowns here. I'm going 45-28.
Oh, 45-28. Okay.
Yep. Hook 'em.
Well, wow. 42-28. You're that confident.
45-28.
Oh, 45-28. Well,
yep.
I might get the right score here in just a minute. Shoot.
It's all good.
I'm writing the wrong number down. I need to go back to college. Well, guess what? I mean, you are confident, like that.
Yes.
Okay, so am I. I got 48-21.
Oh yeah, about 4 touchdowns.
Look, I have been preaching this for 2 years now. Texas is more SEC ready than Oklahoma is. Everybody keeps disagreeing with me, and that's fine. We're about to. Texas is about to prove me right. 48-21. I got it. I got it. So no, I'm with you, man. I think Robinson mops the floor. I mean, if he has anything less than 225 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns, I'm surprised. I am dead serious. Like I am that 48-21.
Yeah. Well, all right, Patrick. Well, we got to be quick with these last 2 conferences. So okay. Next one's what? ACC?
North Carolina and Miami. Look, there's really not a lot of good games going on in the ACC, so I picked this one because I have a feeling which one you were going to pick. But the North Carolina-Miami game, I think this one is going to be a really good game because both of these teams have got to win. They've got to win if they want to salvage any kind of postseason for their school. So I think both of these teams are going to be heavily ready for each other, and I don't have it a high-scoring game. I actually got North Carolina winning 2017.
2017?
Yep.
Okay. You're gonna laugh at this. The U is trash. I have absolutely no faith in them at all. I think they're getting mopped in this game. North Carolina can put up some points. I know their defense does struggle, but they can put up some points. They can score. But North Carolina, I think they're gonna win. It's gonna be going 55-26. Dude, Miami is terrible. They are garbage, man. They got ran over by Middle Tennessee. Like, man, Middle Tennessee threw up 45 points on them. They're like 45-24. Yeah, dude. Miami. The U is trash. Sorry. and they are far away from being far away from being anywhere close to the U.
Way out there.
Way out there.
So even Julius Boozer couldn't help him out?
Yeah, no, Julius Boozer did not help him. Jesus can't help Miami right now. It's over. 55-20. Actually, you know what? 55-26. We're going there.
That's what I put.
Okay, cool.
So see, I already read your mind. Maybe that's
all right.
Maybe you did say it and I just wrote it down, or maybe you said something and I heard 55-22. I don't know, but there it is.
Terrible, dude.
All right, what do you got?
Florida State, NC State. So you got both of these teams. They're coming off of losses. Florida State lost to Wake Forest, and you have NC State who just lost to Clemson. I'm going to pick NC State here. Game is in Raleigh, and I think their defense will recover a little bit more as well with some home cooking. But I think the game will be pretty close. I'm going to go 27-21.
And you said NC State?
Yep, NC State.
Okay. You said what was the score?
27-21.
27-21. I like your comment. NC State back home with some good home cooking. Problem is that Florida State eats the same food. But I'm not going Florida State. I'm actually going NC State. But this is one of those games where it's going to go. It has the potential to go to overtime, like a couple of them, if necessary. But I think NC State does handle business with them being at home. Like you said, that home cooking, sometimes it just helps. You know, I don't care what the home crowd says. It's about the home cooking. And I'm from Georgia, and I like my home cooking. So I got NC State. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be crazy close. You got it by 6. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 24-21. NC State.
All right, so Patrick, final conference, SEC. What's your game?
Tennessee and LSU.
Knew you was gonna pick that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's see what Tennessee's got. Here we are. Tennessee has done some amazing things in the first 4 weeks. They had a bye week last week. Are they ready for their next 5 games? And their next 5 games is no joke. This is probably, my personal opinion, one of the hardest stints in any college team has right here, because you got LSU, Alabama, then you get a break. I call it a bye week because you got Tennessee Martin, but then you roll right into Kentucky and Georgia. Here we are. Let's find out what Tennessee's made of, and this is the start of that. They are playing in Baton Rouge, and it looks like LSU's starting to figure out some stuff. But I don't trust that coaching. And Hooker is looking pretty good. So I'm going to go Tennessee winning this game. And I'm going to go, because I think Tennessee can score. I'm going to go 30. I'll go 38. 38-28.
38-28. Good score. Good score. This one I kind of wrestled with because I'm waiting for Tennessee to show me something. Hell, I'm waiting for LSU to show me something too. So I mean, I don't know.
Well, this is where we're going to find out if either one of them are going to show us anything. Right here. This is the start for both of them. Right here.
So you know what? It is. You're right. I'm going LSU here.
Ooh.
I'm gonna pick LSU.
I raffle with this game too.
It is tough, man. Tennessee can score. They have a very good offense. That quarterback, Hendon Hooker, very, very good.
Right now, anyway. Let's make sure he can not overthrow people and actually hit his targets come LSU.
So, you know, LSU. I go back to the game they played earlier against Mississippi State, and Mississippi State can score a bunch of points too. LSU held them to 16 points in that game, and then, of course, that was also in Baton Rouge. So I think LSU's defense will be able to slow down Tennessee, and the offense, like you were talking about, starting to figure some things out a little bit. So I think it will be kind of high scoring, but not really. I think it'll be. I'm thinking it'll be in the high 20s, low 30s. So I will give LSU a 31-25 or maybe 31-24. I'll go 31-24 LSU.
Okay.
They will pull that out somehow.
That's going to be a good game, though.
It is. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And my game before we get to the NFL, how about this one, Patrick? Arkansas and Mississippi State. Arkansas is kind of licking some wounds there. Yeah, Arkansas is kind of licking some wounds there. They on a 2-game losing streak, losing to Texas A&M and Alabama. And then Mississippi State looks like they are starting to pick it up too. So this game's in Starkville. I going Mississippi State. I think it will be close. Arkansas, they'll show up and they'll be ready to play. Sam Pittman will have them ready to play. But right now, Mississippi State looks like they are clicking on all cylinders right now. And their defense is starting to pick up along with that high-scoring offense. So I got Mississippi State. I'll go 41-30.
Okay. Well, this is where Arkansas has problems with, and it's been their Achilles heel, so to speak, for the past 6, 7, 8 years. They get on a losing streak and they can't fix it. and it always worries me because like you want Arkansas. Arkansas is one of those teams where you secretly root for them, and you're like, man, I just want them to get it. You know what I'm saying? Just get it right. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, they run into these positions where when they lose, their confidence shoots out the window, and they have none. Offensive, defensive, special teams. I mean, you saw what happened in their special teams against Alabama. As soon as it started spiraling out of control, everything spirals out of control for them. And then they get in their own heads, and this is that problem. They get in their own heads and they can't play football. And if they just play football, they'd win these games. They would have won that. They could have won that game with Alabama, but they can't get out of their own way. And then the penalties, the constant penalties, over and over again. It's the same one, offside, offside, offside. And then they get cocky, and then they get mad, and then they want to hit late. You can't do that. You know what I mean? And right now, I mean, we're working on 8 years doing the same thing. I don't see anything different. I think Mississippi State does get out ahead of them pretty quickly, and Mississippi State doesn't look back. You say 41-30. I'm gonna go 42-24. Mississippi State.
That's actually the final score that they beat A&M by last week. So that's kind of funny that you got that score.
Well, I didn't even think about that, but
yeah, dude, that is exactly the score they beat A&M by. That's funny. So yeah, I mean, Arkansas just gives up a lot of big plays, of big plays.
As you see, well, maybe, but we can't. They're in the book, so we will let y'all know how they pan out next week.
All right, Patrick. Well, let's spend a little bit of time on the NFL. What games caught your eye there from last week?
That Philly game. Who did they play? Crap. Let me get Jacksonville. Dude, Jacksonville was with them. Jacksonville played well. Well, until Lawrence fumbled the ball, 25 times? I think he fumbled it more than his age.
Yeah, he had a bad game turnover-wise, for sure.
He did. But, you know, what was crazy, though, is even with the 4 turnovers that he alone had in fumbles, I think he threw an interception, too. So 5 turnovers just by him alone. If you take those turnovers, well, I mean, even with you not taking those turnovers away, Jacksonville still played them pretty well. I mean, it was still a 29-21 game, even with 5 turnovers. So, shout out to Jacksonville. I wanted to mention them because, man, they may not win a Super Bowl this year, but they are leaps and bounds making the right decisions every single week in and week out. They may not win the games, but man, they're in them, and that is a lot more than what we used to be able to say 2 years ago. So shout out to Jacksonville and what they're doing out there in Jacksonville, because it's getting better and better for them every single game. So I like that one. God, there was a lot of good games. Kansas City fixing their problems against Tampa Bay, and then Arizona won. So, hey, and how about my Falcons? 2-game win streak. I haven't said that in like 12 years. 2-game win streak, bro? What?
Atlanta's been playing tough ball. They're there, and I mean, they've been in every game this year. Yeah. So it's just a matter of, can they make those plays to finish it off? Last couple of weeks they have, and so they're sitting at 2-2, and it seems like the majority of the league is 2-2 anyway, so they're right there.
Yeah, right there. So those games stuck out to me, and then there was one other game. Oh, that Buffalo-Baltimore game. What a game. 23-20. Man, that was a much better game than the score ever even let on. That was it. I mean, defenses were phenomenal. Allen and Jackson played phenomenal. I mean, it was just a good game. It was a really good game. So that was what stuck out to me.
I don't have much to add. Those are pretty much the ones. Well, except for my 49ers beating the Rams on Monday night. But
Oh yeah, they did.
But yeah, the other ones, yeah, you point them out. The Falcons, like how they fought and got that win against the Browns. The Eagles are the only undefeated team left in the league now. That the Dolphins lost to the Bengals on Thursday night. And let's see, there was one more. The Patriots and Packers was a little bit interesting. The Patriots did not have Mac Jones. They were playing Bailey Zappi, a third-string quarterback, but he was making some throws, and they almost put that game out, but the Packers were able to win in overtime. So, I mean, you said the rest of them, man, and I totally agree with you. The Bills and Ravens won. I mean, the Bills came back from down 20-3, and were able to pull that out. So, other than that, man, what's catching your eye for the preview?
So there is a couple of games, but let me get the schedule up here. The first one that I was wanting is the I'm curious about that Cincinnati Baltimore game.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that's going to be a good game. I think this is there's a lot of questions in Cincinnati. And obviously, we'll probably find a question in every single one of them. But, for this team to play the way they did last year and then really not showing up this year, kind of surprising.
Hey, they're sitting at 2-2, just like everybody else.
Yeah, but what surprises me is that, and maybe it's just because we got film on Chase now. Everybody's got film on him, and they are double teaming the crap out of him. So he's really not an option for Burrows to throw to, but man, you got to find a way to get that man the ball. You got to. I mean, he's a dominant playmaker, and they cannot get the ball to him at all. So that I want to see if they can make that happen. I doubt it against that Baltimore Ravens defense, but to see if he can try. Obviously, I want to see that Atlanta-Tampa Bay game. We are, on that one. And then there was one more. The Miami, New York. I want to watch this one because obviously Tua is not going to be played. I want to see what backup quarterback Bridgewater. Yeah, I want to see how well he runs that offense because he's really kind of a utility quarterback. He can run a lot of offenses and does very well at it. He's not like the master of any one of them, but he runs very well in multiple offenses. So I want to see how well he does in that offense against that Jets defense.
Shoot, I mean, just looking at the schedule, I mean, there's just a lot of games that if you're sitting here trying to pick them out, they're kind of difficult. They can go either way. I mean, the only one that I guess I would be really sure about is the Raiders and Chiefs. And I'm pretty sure about the Colts and Broncos as well. Other than that, the Eagles and Cardinals I'm pretty sure about too. Other than that, I mean, it could go either way in a lot of these games. So, I mean, I think the Chargers and Browns can be interesting there. You mentioned the Bengals and Ravens, Eagles and Cardinals, and since they're playing in Arizona, I like to see how the Eagles continue to roll if they're able to keep their hot streak alive. I like the Dolphins-Jets pick. That Dolphins-Jets pick is definitely pretty interesting, not just because of the thing with Bridgewater, but the Jets are actually showing a pulse. And that game is in New York.
Really good, right?
Yeah. And so, and that game's in New York, and it's a division game. So I don't think that would be a walk-in for Miami at all. But, I mean, really,
the whole quarterback, I don't think it's a walk-in.
Exactly. So, I mean, I just think this is just an interesting schedule, and I just look forward to it, man. You mentioned Tua, so let's talk about him for a little bit. You've seen it. Everybody has been looking at the coverage last Sunday or about a week ago, or a little bit more than a week ago, against the Buffalo Bills. He went down, hit his head on the ground. He got up, stumbling, had to hold him up. He did the concussion protocol, and apparently they said it was a back injury. Fast forward to Thursday night in the game in Cincinnati, he lands on his head, and his fingers get seized up like they were all broken. Very scary situation there. So now the NFL and the NFLPA, like they always do, just trying to be all reactionary, being garbage as usual. Now they want to do investigations. They fired the neurologist who I guess said Tua had a back injury, and that's what the team has said. The team said it was a back injury. They continued to test him throughout that week, and then this happened. So, Patrick, a lot of people are upset. Where they're upset and where they're coming after the concussion protocol part was the injury that occurred on Sunday's game. If anybody is watching it, your first thought was he's got a concussion. He shook his head once he got up, and then he's stumbling around, and the offensive lineman had to hold him up before the doctors got him there. He does the protocol, and not only did he pass the protocol, he returned in that game. So people are wondering what's going on with that protocol. And then if you decide that he's not fit to play Thursday night because you got your short turnaround, then you should have held him out in that game.
Yep.
I think we have to remember also, though, Patrick, the play Tua got hurt on, particularly the one against Cincinnati. That play can happen anytime to any quarterback, and any one of those quarterbacks can land on their head.
Yep.
So if Tua gets through that game and doesn't get hurt, nobody's talking about that. Nobody. But he got hurt. And you're on a national stage. I mean, everybody, whoever has Amazon Prime Video, is watching this game. It's out there. It's getting replayed through all whatever. Yahoo, ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, you name the site. News agencies are carrying it too. Everybody's seen that video. It was scary. It was really, really frightening, honestly, just to see how his fingers just froze up like that. But that play can happen anytime. And I think we have to remember, football, it's a violent sport. One of the most violent sports in the world. People get hurt, injuries happen. And if that doesn't happen and he plays just fine and gets through, then of course none of these changes are happening. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's okay to say I don't know what a solution would be, because I don't know what the solution would be. I mean, go ahead.
Well, I will say this. Nothing's a problem until it's a problem, right? And a lot of companies, regardless of what that is, they kind of live by that, because, like for me, I don't see a problem. I'm not going rushing out and spending more money to fix a problem that doesn't exist, right? Now, I'm not trying to cover for the NFL. This is how I kind of see the whole scenario on how it should have happened, because we do see this as an issue even before Tua, right? And if this is going to happen on every play, then what you have to have is just a protocol. And it's a really simple protocol. It actually doesn't cost you any more money. It doesn't require you to do anything crazy. You don't even actually need a neurologist to say anything. It's as simple as this. Be over cautious. Simple as that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that is the solution for the entire thing. But if you see somebody do what Tua did, he's out for the game. For the rest of the game, he does not play until he has sat for a couple of hours, maybe even the next day, and then he goes through concussion protocol then. If there is a sign of a concussion, you stop him from playing there and you put him in for the rest of the day. He's out. He's done. You have to learn, and this is one of the things that I've learned in my many years is sometimes, and you said this too, sometimes we have to protect the players from themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Tua is
Yeah,
going.
I would have held him out. He would not have played Thursday night in Cincinnati.
He wouldn't have played the rest of the game on Sunday.
Yeah,
And
that
definitely
he
would have not played, and not on a short turnaround like that. Absolutely
no.
not.
Yeah, I would have held him out.
Sometimes you have to protect the players from themselves, because I can tell you right now, we both know that if you hit your head like that, or if I hit my head like that, we're way too competitive. If the coach says you're cleared, I'm gonna go. Let's go. I'm gonna hit somebody. You know what I mean? That's who we are. That's who Tua is. So at a certain point, whether you want to win or lose, you still have to think of the future of your franchise. You have to be overprotective, over cautious. And like I said, this doesn't cost any more money. You look at that and you say, he does not play for the rest of the game. And we'll reevaluate on Tuesday. And then we'll probably keep him out on Thursday as well, since it's such a short turnaround. But you got to be overprotective and you got to be overcautious. That is that's not me saying that this is a solution, but I would tell you it is definitely a step in the right direction. Because watching that man fall on Sunday, you do not put him back in. Period.
So, and another thing, Patrick. So, Tony Dungy, he said, I guess, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically the percussion protocol is a broken system now. Well, my question is this: what in the NFL is not broken? What? But besides their money-making machine, because we know they're making money hand over fist, they're billions and billions of dollars per year industry-wise. You got streaming services jumping at the chance, like what we just talked about with Amazon having these exclusive rights to Thursday night. But in terms of other policies, what is not broken with the NFL? Rooney Rule, broken. Concussion protocol, broken. Whatever else that has to deal with social issues, broken. You know what I mean?
Players Association, broken.
Yeah, the Players Association, broken.
The concession stands, broken. The bleachers, broken. Benches, broken.
So
Tua,
I don't understand.
now broken.
So I don't understand what is not broken about this. It seems like every time you talk to people who are in the league, who are analyzing the league, who are working on these shows, that's one of the first things to say. Oh, well, this policy is broken. Fix y'all stuff. Give me a break, NFL. You're $1 billion industry. So what this tells me is you don't care as long as you are able to run the machine well enough to get your billions of dollars. Everything else is secondary. And I'm just tired. I'm sick and tired of hearing guys come on the TV or on the radio and saying, this policy's broken. That policy's broken. Fix it.
Yeah.
You
want somebody to do it?
Yeah.
I'll come in and do it for you. I ain't gonna do it for free, but I can tell you, I'll do it for you, because there's a lot of things that just you start at the beginning and you say, if this is broken, we're gonna fix it, and you got a deadline, done, and then you start doing it. And yeah, am I gonna say it's a lot of work? Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work. You're not gonna like the consequences. You're not gonna like the skeletons that's gonna be dug up, and this is probably the reason why they're not doing it. Is you're not gonna like the skeletons that's being dug up, because they're gonna be dug.
Yeah.
And when we get to it, you now have to face those. And this is many years of sweeping crap under the rug. Many years. And who knows who's siphoned money and who's breaking tax legalities and all these things that are happening, and all of it will come out. And when it does, your $1 billion machine is going to go, y'all not playing another thing until all of it's fixed. And there's where your problem is, right there. They're creeping on screwing themselves.
And Patrick, so we're gonna have to move on to this last topic, but I just want to say this real quick. It's ultimately about Tua the man, and he has to be able. Let's make sure that he can at least walk. have a nice life and stuff. Like right now, football is secondary, and if he's able to come back and play, all right, cool, more power to him. But that's not where my concern is, and it shouldn't be for anybody else. We need to make sure this man can walk and even
Yeah.
have a chance to play again. Let's get there first, and then we'll worry about him coming back later. But those are scary, scary injuries.
Yeah.
So Patrick, before we go, I want you to pull up the video of Aaron Judge's 61st home run. And so where I'm gonna go with this, because we're gonna have a conversation about the pursuit of home run balls real quick. And so there was a guy, because home run happened in Toronto, his 61st. He's still stuck on 61, by the way. As far as I know, he's stuck on 61. He hits the 61st home run, and a fan reached down there in Toronto, had a chance to catch it, but he missed it. So I heard people.
He hit a 60-second home run today.
Oh, he did hit it? Okay.
Today. Yep.
All right. So
63 minutes ago, actually.
63 minutes ago. Okay. Well, then there you go. So and that was here because the Yankees are here in Texas to finish the year against the Rangers. So I haven't seen that tape yet, but I'm sure there's fights hand over fist to get that baseball. Now, when the 61st home run happened in Toronto, I heard people say, "No, man, you got to dive. You got to try to get that." Really? You want him to dive over the railing so he could fall into the bullpen, maybe break his neck, maybe break a leg, not knowing how to land? No, look, I get it, man. This is a historic moment. I understand there's thousands upon millions of dollars that might be on the line. Man, that man don't need to die. You want him to dive over the railing? Come on.
What good is $1 million if you're dead and you can't spend it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's my point. So like I said, I haven't seen the footage yet of the 60-second home run. But that 61st home run, I mean, dude had a chance. He just missed it. Just barely missed it. And I'm just hearing people, "Oh, you got to dive for that." Oh, dive over the railing? Maybe break his neck? Fall a couple of stories down in that bullpen?
Bro,
break,
I would have went like this. Oh.
Yeah, right.
It's a 61st home run. Look, don't get me wrong. A 62nd? I might jump over that. That one's worth millions. Because I'll be like, "You want this, Judge?" No,
Used
right.
to.
I'll give it to you. I ain't got a problem with it, but it's $5 million.
Oh boy. Well, oh goodness. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, like you said, yeah, you might get that $1 million, but if you're dead because you tried to get it, then you can't spend it. So you get like
your kids are gonna spend your damn money.
Let's not gouge eyes out and choke people. That's all I'm saying. Well, Patrick, so we run out of time here, so you can go ahead, get on out, and that will conclude this latest edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all make sure y'all go visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air, or excuse me, not the likes, follow the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. So everybody take care, enjoy the games. So Patrick, next week we are going to have to get into Major League Baseball's playoffs because your wild card series will start on Friday. Yeah, they start on Friday. So this whole weekend will be your wild card series, best of 3. And then next week we will be into the divisional series. So definitely we'll talk about that, get our picks in for these series. And outside of that, everybody enjoy the games for football, baseball, basketball started up, and hockey is also starting up as well. So lots of sports going on in the month of October. So, and we'll be right here to talk about it all with you. So until then, everybody take care, and y'all have a great rest of the week.
And go Braves.